Hi guys, welcome to a playthrough of the Streets of Hope level from Hitman Absolution. My name's Travis, I'm on the community team at IO Interactive in Copenhagen, and I'm with the game director, Tor Blystad, who's here with me.
Hey, and hope you will enjoy this speedy playthrough of this very large level from Hitman Absolution.
Yeah, we're going to play through it in 17 minutes. It's a bit of an expert playthrough. You have to know your way around Streets of Hope to be able to pull it off to this level of accuracy and efficiency. But to give you a bit of intel on where we are and what we're doing, we're obviously Agent 47. He's gone rogue from the ICA. He's on the trail of a girl called Victoria. The lead that he's got to get to this point is he's following a guy called Lenny the limp Dexter. He's the son of Blake Dexter, the benefactor of this town, so he's a pretty important character in the game. Lenny knows about the whereabouts of Victoria, and he's also told his gang, he's with the Cougar gang, his little posse that he rolls with, you could say. So we need to take those 5 guys out, we need to get to Lenny, we need to kidnap him, all within this one level, so there's a lot happening here.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge environment, and it's all pretty kind of free roaming. You can kind of go around and scope out the situations, find different elements that you can use to your advantage. There's a lot of kind of improvised weapons around. There's a lot of different disguises, and there's to every single hit within this level there's a large amount of entry points to it. So here we're homing in on our first target, which is the leader of the gang.
We've kicked off already. We've had a scope of the land. We know a little bit about Hope so far. Our first target is going into the convenience store here, so we're going to follow him in the back entrance and see how we get on.
Yeah, so as this is a more, you can say it's a large part of this is a large level within the game, and as you can kind of walk around freely, also everything you do they will kind of cascade out if you're kind of causing trouble here. I mean, theoretically you could take down your target straight away here and kill his girlfriend in the same time, but you will have to deal with the consequences of that, and if anyone here shouting or gunshots, they will come running and try to find out what it is. So rather than take him down here, we'll wait for him to go upstairs, use a distraction here to get past his girlfriend.
So the most immediate thing that we can see is a radio. So we've triggered the radio on, which of course the clerk here is going to be thinking, well, why is there a radio playing? She's trying to see who it is, and we've managed to get away and kind of sneak past her now. As she's confused or looking at the radio, we're in a trespassing zone here, so we need to be careful not to be seen. Yeah, so if you're trespassing within the game, it doesn't mean that you're instantly dead if you're found. It means that you will be kind of escorted out of the premises. But of course now, since this is one of the targets, he's standing in front of some very compromising evidence of this Cougar gang trying to kidnap this girl Victoria and sell her off to an arms company. Then you will probably be killed on sight here if seen by this guy. Yeah, he'd definitely react if he sees you, so we need to sneak up behind him. We're going to take him down with the fibre wire silently, so nobody hears us, and we've got objective complete. We need to dump the body, because his girlfriend will probably be coming up to see where he is pretty soon. Yeah, so hiding evidence or hiding bodies as part of that is, of course, it's good for kind of erasing your tracks, and it's all kind of tracked in our score. Everything that you do is logged, and you kind of get a positive or negative score based on how you're playing and using the different features of the game. And being undetected or being unseen and not leaving any traces behind is a very good way of playing. Yeah, and all of that information's stored in the notebook that we just saw on the screen. It also keeps the challenges, right, and it keeps targets, your objectives. It's pretty much as if 47 was keeping a physical notebook as he goes along of what he's seen, what he needs to do. Yeah, so for those that knows the old Hitman games, they know that there always was a mission briefing as the start of every level. That's slightly different in Absolution, as 47 is far more the driver of the story than any other Hitman game. The way that these objectives are made is also based on his progress through the level, so they will kind of update along the way,
with the information that he gets and the player gets as they play the level.
Yeah, he's very much making the decisions himself, isn't he? When he's got, obviously if something happens, he realises he needs to take out somebody else. He doesn't need somebody in his ear to tell him that. He's seen it for himself, he's heard a conversation. So it's very dynamic in that sense.
Yeah, so actually for this level, as you enter, you only know that Lenny the limp has to be kidnapped, but as you enter the level, you find out, okay, there is these guys, this Cougar gang, and they know way too much about Victoria, so they also have to be taken out. So this is an objective that you won't really know until you actually come to this place in the level.
Or until you watch this video and we tell it to everyone.
Yeah, of course. So here, as you can see, there is things lighting up an instinct that you can use as a player. Some of them are hiding places, other things are objects that can be used to cause an accident. And especially with the targets, of course, it's very useful if you make it look like an accident. Then they won't even be looking for a killer if they didn't even know it was a murder committed.
And the instinct as well, you're about to trigger it here as well. You can see the targets, or the NPCs are lighting up as well. And we saw when we came past there was a little icon for a hint. It's for those of you, you can obviously see that we're not playing in purist mode, our difficulty where you get no help from the game at all. All of these options can be turned off if you want a real challenge. So bear that in mind as you play through. That if you are a purist player and you really want a really difficult experience, you can customize it that way, if that's the sort of thing that you're looking for. But to show off the features, we're going to keep the HUD on for this playthrough.
So we're approaching our second target here. He is on the phone, and an easy prey for a trained assassin. And instead of just killing him off straight away, we will kind of subdue him and try to make it look like an accident here, actually, by using the explosives that we found earlier.
So we had the option to snap his neck as well. That's if we're running short of time, or if we just feel like being a bit more brutal through the level, isn't it?
It's very much about choice, right? All the different mechanics are built to create sensible choices for the player. If you want to be brutal, if you want to be violent, you can do that, but it will affect your scores and your challenges.
Oh, busted.
All right, we'll deal with this.
You're under arrest.
Ow. So one thing that we worked a lot on with our AI is that the propagation of knowledge throughout the level. That this guy, we took care of him really fast, so it meant that anything he had to say to his friends on the radio, he didn't get the time to say anything at all. And that meant that nothing actually got conveyed, and we're free to continue throughout the level as if nothing happened.
Yeah, it was perfect timing from 47, really, in a way, because the police officer's not going to start shooting at us straight away just for being in the area. He needs to... You can hear him shouting, he's saying, "What are you doing?" And then before he's got a chance to kind of realise that we're not going to move and that we're a bit of a shady character, we've killed him. So it's, yeah, we move on from there.
So here we're using the remote detonated explosives that we found. And as you remember, the target we dropped down, the one that is just knocked out, he's over there by the tires, and now he is dead, as you can see in the target tracker.
That was quite a big explosion. The other cars there have caught fire, so this could get interesting.
Yeah, this is not very subtle, but it does cause a bit of a stir in the town, and it will draw the attention of especially all the guards or cops. As you can see here, they come running, which leaves the next target a little bit easier to get to, because he is quite heavily guarded. He's kind of like the king of the scrapyard, as you'll see here very soon.
So this end of the street now is a lot more empty than it was when we first arrived and took a look around. So there's definitely more freedom here for us. You can see the target there. He's roaming the scrapyard as he does, king of the scrapyard, as it were. And you can see the explosion was absolutely huge. The black smoke is pillowing upwards past the big poster of Dexter there, the benefactor of hope, as we mentioned earlier. But we now need to head into the scrapyard. You can still see the target just on the screen there. We've got a sign, "Warning, keep out dogs," so we should be careful.
Yeah, dogs are also a feature of the game. They will alert nearby NPCs, as we see here. We're trying to sneak up on one, and obviously we're not allowed to be here. Even if we had a disguise on, this dog would bark on us. And
so we've grabbed the dog Bone. We think that he might have been barking for that, or he's noted us. He might be just wanting to get a chew on the bone, but the barking has actually alerted an NPC. This mechanic here who's come across, so we need to be careful.
Yeah, so this poor guy doesn't know what'll hit him.
I should always check what's behind you. The dog's stunned.
Yeah, so as we're trespassing here in the scrapyard, this mechanic comes in pretty handy, as we can take his disguise and move around a lot more freely in this area. We don't have to kind of sneak around, because now, as long as we don't get close to the other NPCs, we're actually allowed to be here.
Yeah, and we're going to shove him in the closet, keep him out of sight. There's no evidence that he was ever here. We've got our disguise, and we saw the target walking deeper into the scrapyard, so that's where we're going to head now. Yeah,
so now dressed as a mechanic, if you have to get close to other NPCs, it's very useful to blend into the environment and kind of just pretend that you belong here. So as we'll see here, this NPC, he is kind of wondering who you are, but he's not suspicious yet. But if you kind of would have stayed closer to him for a longer amount of time, then he would eventually have found out, or if there's 2 or 3 of them close.
Yeah, the mechanics will recognize if there's it's a small town, so they know each other pretty well. So a bold guy walking around does look suspicious, so 47 needs to blend in. But of course the police officer, he's not so familiar with the mechanics, so he's not going to bust you. But we're thinking about taking him out with the crowbar here, but thought better of it.
Yeah, I think if you pick up that crowbar, he will kind of get a little bit suspicious about you, so it's better to let it be. So here the target's been dealing with some dirty cops, and he's heading off into this tiny garage over here. I think he is the guy who is in charge of the cars for the gang. So they're kind of preparing this kidnapping of Victoria, and he is preparing the car here. And that's an accident waiting to happen, as you can see in Instinct here.
It's a good choice of words.
Yeah, accident kills are a very big feature in Absolution, and there's a large number of ways of taking down every single target in the game. And this is where the team has really went to town on coming up with inventive ways of killing targets that are kind of localized to each area. So naturally here in a garage, what better to use than a car lift?
Who's screwing about? Okay, all right. Who's making the racket?
So it's the 3rd target down. The target tracker resembles that. We've got three targets down, a really high score. The police are on the way in to see what's happened. You can hear the mechanics. We're a bit worried about this guy who's just been crushed, but we're clear. We're away. It's got warning attack dogs again, so we have to be careful about that. We're now in the Cougars' nest. This is like the main hangout area for the Cougars. They're there hosting a bit of a party for Lenny. But they're having a barbecue, and you might see the lighter fuel there, which could be an option. Barbecues and lighter fuel tend to go pretty well together when Agent 47's around. And we can also see the policeman down there. He's allowed to be in this area. We're not, as a mechanic. It's a bit of a private area, so we're going to try and take his disguise and see if we can get closer to our target.
Yes, usually these kind of isolated characters are pretty useful for us, as they provide disguises and weapons and so on.
We've just got an improvised weapon there, a bottle. Smash this around the guy's head. Smash. He's down. Disguise is ready to get picked up. And 47 needs to choose a weapon here.
Yeah, so what else to use than an axe rather than a tomahawk?
And we can see why why the police officer was so distracted there.
That was a really perverted guy. And now we have his clothes on. Awesome. So dressed as a police officer, we're allowed to get closer to these guys up here. And basically we only have one of these as a target, the one in the middle.
Yeah, Mason.
And everyone else, unfortunately, will be collateral in this point shooting, which is one of our new features in the game. Allows us to kind of slow down time to a minimum, and using our instinct powers, take them down instantly. And as you can see, they're trying to pull their guns to fight back, but as they're taken down too quickly for that, the whole thing goes down without anyone making a sound, as we also use silenced guns for this.
Yeah, we've also used all of our instinct though. It's very expensive to use point shooting, especially on so many characters all at one time. So there's a lot of strategy involved in when you should use your point shooting. You can't just walk up to any character and shoot them and do it instantly. You have to make sure you do it at the right time, otherwise you run out of instinct completely. But there's the other target's come out here. He's come to investigate, probably come back to the barbecue, and he's stunned by the dead bodies.
Ow, poor old guy.
47's just killed the barber.
Yeah, that's sad, but it's for the greater good. We need a new disguise here, because now there's a lot of police officers in the building here. So using the barber, which is freely allowed to walk around here, it's a pretty powerful disguise, and as you can see, there's lots of characters here, so trying to go in here guns blazing would be pretty dangerous and difficult.
There is a lot of NPCs here. You can also see there's a guy a little bit further ahead getting his pistol ready, so he's prepared for a shootout. But it would be a bit of a mistake to pull your guns out here. Sneaking through as the barber is probably the best way through. Towards Lenny, who you can see down there. Instinct lights up in blue, not red because he's not a target. We need to kidnap him. And we make our way down.
Yeah, so basically now there's this one police officer standing between us and Lenny at the moment, so we will just quickly deal with him.
Quickly deal with him by putting a pair of scissors in his neck.
Well, yeah.
Deal with him in 47's trademark way.
Yeah, you could have subdued him, right? Poor guy. And now we have Lenny all to ourselves, and he's kind of just sitting there lying about his antics in Chicago, so he's kind of an easy prey. It's almost too easy.
Yeah.
You're not the talkative type, huh? You know your place. Well, I like that in the barber.
That's it, and thanks for watching the playthrough of Streets of Hope from Hitman Absolution, which is out in November 20th this year.
Thanks for taking the time to listen, and of course watch.